Alrighty, let's get into it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you setting aside the time and really joining me with the open mindset to really think about refocusing our mind and pivoting our businesses. So let's dive in. So what we're going to be covering off today, or before we get started, please grab a pen and paper. There's going to be lots of information. And yes, I'm going to be sending you a 15-page guide afterwards, but you never know what notes and ideas you're going to get throughout this session that is going to be specific to your business. So it'll be really worthwhile for you to grab a pen and paper. Please, if you can, remove any distractions. So if you need to pop headphones in or you need to close out any other tabs, anything else that's going to help you really stay focused, because I'm going to move fast. When I sat down thinking about, okay, so what do I really want to support you all with here, and how can I give you the best information possible from what I've gotten, and how am I thinking about it, and what do I think that you're going to need mindset wise, and all of these things. There's so much that I've jam-packed into this session. So it's going to be a lot of information. So if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, that's normal. It's actually when we're taking on lots of information, but you'll have time to process it. So please know that, I really wanted to make sure that I could give you the best of what I could today. And that means that's why I'm jam-packing so much into it. So please come to the session with an open mind. It's really important that even if you have heard any of this stuff before, I really want you to take that self-responsibility and just take a moment and just go, okay, yes, okay, I may have heard that before. I know that's true. Am I really doing this? Could I be doing it better? Could I take this information on a little bit differently? Could I be challenging myself in a different way that would really help me think about this in a different way to start implementing this more effectively in my business? So really start to think about it and use that self-responsibility to take it on board and think about how you could do it differently. And please engage with the rest of the group. So make sure that you use the chat box. So if you have any cool ideas, pop them in the chat box, because this is very much a collective energy here today. So we've got everyone with so many different businesses, and when we have other people's eyes on our businesses, we don't necessarily will see it from that perspective, but we'll have different ideas. And so please share if you have ideas for other people's businesses as well as for your own. And I will do my best to share the chat box as well. So afterwards I can actually record the chat of what people put in the chat. So if there's any cool ideas that come out there, I'll share that in the email afterwards. And what was the other thing I was going to say? If you find that there's any time throughout the session that you feel that there might be, emotions that come up, that's so normal. Like, we are all going through this really challenging time right now. And what we're going to talk first about is very much about the mindset and how we can shift through that, and maybe what it is that you're feeling and why we need to work through that. So what we'll be covering, we're going to be talking about refocusing our mind and really working on our mindset to support ourselves through this process, throughout this experience. So life is 50-50. We're going to have times where it's amazing, and then we're going to have times that aren't so great. And it's about how we utilize what we think about it, and we utilize our belief systems to support us moving through it. We're going to be talking about reevaluating your business with the lens of the coronavirus. And we talk about creating new goals and really specifically focusing on the next 90 days. We're going to be talking about reviewing your business with a whole new lens, pivoting to online, pivoting in general, collaboration and partnerships, and who you may need on your team to move forward. Amazing. So let's dive in. So most of you know who I am. So I'm a business mindset coach. My name is Christine Corcoran, and I'm also a behavioral profiler, keynote speaker, certified in Master Prac in regards to NLP and hypnosis. What that means is I love to understand why human beings do what they do, and understand the mindset and understand how we can utilize our thought patterns and our belief systems support us to move forward. So it's about understanding literally why we do what we do. I also host a podcast called The Next Level Life, which I dive into that a lot more. So if you need extra support, you can definitely head over there and listen to the podcast. And I also host events here in Brisbane, which next month are going to go online, because it's all about pivoting, right? So I'm actually turning them virtual next month for May. I actually didn't have one planned for April, which was really interesting how it all played out, because I normally would have them monthly, but because of Easter, I decided not to have one. And then it just worked out that, didn't really need to have one. Thanks, Pamela. It's really lovely. So yeah, feel free to head across to the podcast, and I'll let you know as soon as I have more information about the event. So let's focus first on our mindsets. Everybody is going through this journey differently. Everyone has different baggage from the past. Everybody has different experiences, different belief systems. We've all grown up differently, and we've all been through different times. So first and foremost, I want you just to acknowledge yourself for showing up here today. By you showing up here today, you are showing up for yourself and you're showing up for your business. And that is worth acknowledging. We are all going through this in a different way. And the reasons why it can be very challenging is we're seeing that as a conglomerate, like as a collective, this global world is going through this whole shift. And we're experiencing this on such a deeper level that even if we're, that some of us are very much directly affected right now, it's affecting our businesses, it's affecting our jobs. Some people are indirectly affected, so it might be affecting their clients that they work with. And some of them are, not affected at all, right? And everyone's going through it differently. So the main thing that I want to share with you today in regards to our mindset is just giving yourself the space to feel, giving yourself the space to actually process your emotions. We are all actually going through a stage of grief and loss. We are all grieving what life used to be. We're grieving a sense of control. We're grieving and we have that sense of loss in regards to what life was going to be. Right? I'm sure that you've had goals in place and you feel disappointed with where they are right now and what all this change that has to happen. And so we're all going through this grief process. And so I want you just to give yourself the space and the awareness to know that whatever you're feeling is totally okay. And some people are seeing other people pivot and they're like, oh, I should be doing all of that, but I'm just not ready. And that's okay. And then other people are like, oh my God, I've got to pivot and I'm just going to ignore all my emotions and try to focus on pivoting. And then it comes from this place of push and it's even harder. And that's when we need to stop and take acknowledgement of our feelings. So, and you will have noticed this, a lot of people have been through some of these stages and might still be in some of these stages. So I know I went through a hell of a lot of denial, right? In the beginning, I was like, this is not going to be a big deal. Like, I don't know what everyone's banging on about. It's over in China, like all of that. And then it was like, oh, hang on a minute. No, this is actually getting real. And then I started getting angry about people not taking it seriously, getting angry about how people made it even more catastrophized. And I got angry at the news and angry at the government, right? All of these types of things. And then I went through a bargaining stage where I was like, okay, what am I going to do about this? And how can I, like, if I do this, what if I got that? And started to bargain with like God and the universe, right? And then went through a sense of sadness. We are all going to process these emotions before we get to a place of acceptance. And that sadness could be quite deep for a lot of people. That loss could be a lot. And I really want you to allow yourself the space to really feel that and give yourself the space. And so I've created a podcast episode which goes out tomorrow, which is all about bypassing your emotions and understanding how to process your emotions in a healthy way. So if you feel like you're still going through some of these processes and you haven't really gotten to that stage of acceptance yet, that's okay. And that podcast episode is there to support you. But know that you need to give yourself the time and space. And in regards to grief, when we lose a loved one, everyone goes through different grief processes over periods of time. We go through waves of it, right? So no matter what, please don't judge your emotions. You are going to feel them and they're there for a reason. We need to process it. It's heavy. Like all of the stuff that's going on in the world, it's heavy. And, when we don't allow ourselves to actually feel, that's when we go into buffering, or that's when we go into avoidance and we keep ourselves stuck at that stage instead of actually working through and processing through it until we get to that stage of acceptance. Once we reach that stage of acceptance, then and only then are we ready to really move forward and start to really accept what's really going on and accept where we are in the world and what's happening right here for us and what's happening in our business, what's happening in our family life. When we start to have that sense of acceptance, only then can we start to then think creatively and start to make decisions and work towards our future. So please, no matter where you are right now, I want you just to know that it is perfect for exactly where you are, and it's totally fine for you to feel whatever you are feeling. So please take that time, feel and acknowledge your emotions. And even with those around you, like I see other people getting angry at other people for not taking it seriously, and that's okay. Because they're still in that anger phase, right? So we want to just allow them that space to go, you know what, it's okay, just feel your emotions and acknowledge them. So what I would suggest is actually take the time to go, okay, so what is it that I'm feeling today? And just check in with yourself. And then if you need to take the extra space and time to cry, to get angry, to, beat the crap out of a pillow, like whatever it is that you need to do to process your emotions in a healthy way, please take the time to do that. And I'm not one to expect you to move faster than you need to go. Throughout this session today, it's about you deciding what pieces you want to take and what ones you want to implement. And whatever you want to do is perfect for you. And you'll always have this to come back to. So what I would love for you to do is, with a pen and paper right now, I just want you to start to notice, you're just asking yourself these simple questions. Is there some part of this that I haven't accepted yet? And there is no right or wrong answer here. It's just starting to have that awareness around, okay, I really haven't accepted the financial situation. I'm kind of avoiding that. Or I really haven't accepted the impact this is going to have on my employees, right? And it's like, I really didn't want to allow myself to even think that far. Like, is there any element of it that you feel like you haven't accepted yet? And ask yourself, how can you give yourself the space to process your emotions? What do you feel that you need to do for you to be able to process your emotions? I know this feels heavy for our first session where I'm like, let's go and pivot. I know, but if we don't really acknowledge this, and if we don't take the space to really go, okay, what is it that my body is asking me for right now? Like, the emotions are a signpost to go, hey, there's something I need to look at here, something I need to feel, something I need to process. Because if we push them down, it's like pushing a beach ball under the water and trying to hold it down under the water and just expecting it to stay there. When it's not going to stay there, it's going to bounce back up and smack you in the face. So I really want you to allow and not fear your emotions. They're there for a reason, and we get to express them. And lastly, is there anything that you feel that you need to let go of? I went through a stage where I was like, there's certain goals that I had on my vision board for this year that I was really disappointed to have to let go of. And it was a real process of like, I was like standing strong going, no, that's still going to happen. I'm going to make that happen. And it's like, actually, no, I need to start to accept that that's not going to happen this time. And then I'm going to have to put that off to next year. And that's okay as well. So just taking a minute or two just to answer those questions for me. Okay. Now I want to share with you a little tool that I use to support me to really think about how my thoughts are serving me and how I may be stuck in a place of stuckness, stuck in a place of focusing on the problem and focusing on things that I can't control. One of the biggest things right now is taking the time to really focus on what it is that you can control. We can't control what the government's going to say. We can't control the impact that's having on the economy. We can't control the way that other people react to this. All we can control is how we react, and all we can control is the way that we think about it. And so this is a tool that I use on a regular basis, and you can either take a screenshot of this, or I might take a screenshot of it and send it to you via the email as well. So you have it to go back to, because I find it's really, really supportive. So once we've come to that place of acceptance with our emotions, then we start to then look at our thoughts. Where are my thoughts serving me? Where are they not serving me? And at the moment, there's so much fear and uncertainty going on in the world right now that what we want to do is we want to focus on what it is that we can control. So we might be stuck below the line. So you've got the blue line, and then below the line are really kind of negative emotions and places of powerlessness. So basically when we're blaming things outside of ourselves, we're avoiding, we're stuck in a place of playing the victim, or we're getting angry, we're focused on the problems, we're feeling hopeless, we're in a place of just reacting rather than responding from a place of calm and certainty. We might be judging others, we might be stuck playing excuses, we might be focused on all the scarcity in the world, we might be focused on failure or procrastination. And so when we notice that we're down the bottom here, what we can do is then go, okay, so I notice that I'm really focused on the problem right now. Like, I'm constantly taking on information from the news. I'm watching too much of it. I'm constantly focused on this is going to be the worst thing in the world, right? So I'm like stuck by blaming, and I'm feeling hopeless. So I'm below the line. So what we want to do is we want to refocus our thoughts to above the line, and then go, okay, so what do I need to accept here? What do I need to focus on? Do I need to then focus on, okay, that's the problem, yes, and I'm feeling hopeless. Well, that's not really it's not really serving me right now. So what clarity do I need to be able to move forward? What action do I need to take that it might actually make me feel much more in control? Do I need to accept something? Do I need to look at what choices or options that I have? Do I need to search for solutions? Do I need to take responsibility for my part in what's happening in my business? There is so much that we can bring from this that it really helps us. And what I would suggest you do is that when you bring yourself back to above the line, please don't judge the thoughts that go run through your mind, because the judgment on top of it doesn't help either. And so it's about being that gentle self-compassion for yourself and go, this is so normal and so typical with everything that's going on in the world right now and all the news and the way that they dramatize and catastrophize, that we're stuck in a place of fear and anxiety. So I want you just to give yourself the calm space and bring yourself back to a sense of peace. And you can do that with a sense of breath. So I'm going to take you through a breathing pattern in just a moment to help you bring back your autonomic nervous system to a place of calm. So if you're finding you're trying to refocus your thoughts to above the fray, then, and that's not working, that's when we need to go back to our heart space and go back to our breath and bring ourselves back to a sense of calm, so then we can start to think more clearly. So basically what happens is when we're in a sense of fear, actually I'll come back to that. Oh, my other slide fell out. Okay. Sorry. So basically what's happening is because there's so much uncertainty in the world, and even like the immediate future is very uncertain. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. We don't know how long we're going to be in our homes for. We don't know how long it's going to affect the economy for. And because we're in that place of uncertainty, what's really important is that what we need to be aware of is that the way that our brain and our bodies determine a sense of safety is through certainty. So what we are certain of in life gives us a sense of security and safety. So it's part of our core needs, like our core survival needs to feel safe. And because of all this uncertainty, it's making us all feel really unsafe. And so what's happening is we're actually putting our bodies into a sense of fight or flight mode. So our bodies are going straight into a fight or flight, which means we're in a heightened sense of emotional state. So not only is we're literally like our brain is on, it's literally in a state of like, I am on heightened alert of what is going on around me right now. And not only that is when we go into a fight or flight, our immune system shuts down because it feels it's irrelevant right now because we have focusing on our immediate danger. So we're in this fight or flight state. And not only then, our autonomic nervous system goes into a sympathetic nervous system, which means it produces more stress hormone called cortisol. And then we go into this really high stress state. And I'm sure you've been in a state before like that when you start talking really fast and your heart's pumping really fast and you might be breathing really shallow from your chest. And so what is happening is then the blood rushes from the brain and goes into our arms and our legs and to get us ready to fight or ready to fly, ready to run, right? And when that's happening, everything else is irrelevant. So we actually can't think clearly. Our brain needs oxygen and needs blood for us to think clearly and have conscious thought about solutions and about overcoming challenges. So when we're in that really heightened state, we can't even think clearly. So what we want to do is we want to bring ourselves back to a calm state and to find that equilibrium, and then we'll be able to think much more clearly. So what I would love for you to do now, and totally up to you if you would like to participate in this, it's really quick, but I want to share with you a simple breathing pattern to help bring down the autonomic nervous system back down to your equilibrium. So I want you just to relax back into your seat. First, I want you just to notice, where are you currently breathing from? Are you breathing from high in your chest, or is it deep from your diaphragm? You may want to place a hand to start to notice where that breath is coming from. And then what I want you to do is we're going to just do a really simple breathing pattern. We're going to do it 3 or 4 times. And I want you just to breathe in deep and exhale. And I want you to breathe in again and exhale. This time we're going to count. So I want you to breathe in for 4 and out for 6. So breathe in and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beautiful. And so what you'll notice is we breathed out for much longer than we breathed in. So when we're in that really heightened state, we want to breathe out for longer to remind our bodies that we're okay, that we're safe. And we do that, we remind our autonomic nervous system that it's okay to pause, it's okay, we're safe. And if you want to use any affirmations, you can use that as well. You can actually say, I am safe, I am healthy, I'm okay, I'm loved. There's a meditation that I did on my podcast called The Healing Golden Light, so you're welcome to try out as well. So that goes through that to help you give you a sense of safety. So now that we're in that calm equilibrium, we want to start to think about the language that we're using, and we want to start to think about some useful beliefs. So there's so much being thrown around at the moment around what we can and can't control. And there's so much information being thrown around about the coronavirus and the effects it's going to have on humanity and the impact it's going to have on global economies and all of this sort of stuff. And so we want to make sure that we are using our thoughts for good. We're using our imagination for good. Otherwise, our imagination, unattended, will just run rampant and we'll end up going into conspiracy theories and going into all the different things that are completely out of our control. And I want you to ask yourself, how does that serve me? If it's keeping me in a place of feeling uncertain and unsafe and in a heightened sense of awareness, then it's really not going to serve you or your business. So what I want you to do is, you can, again, screenshot this if you like. These are some of the beliefs that I've been embedding into my mind recently to support me in stepping forward and support me in showing up more powerfully in my business. So this is temporary. I will get through this. There's never been a better time to run a small business or an online business. This too shall pass. I can choose how I want to respond. So when we find these useful beliefs, we want to make sure that we use them on a regular basis to remind ourselves that we are safe, we are healthy, we are okay, and we will get through this. These times are going to build resilience. We want to make sure that we use our imagination for good and step up in regards to our own personal leadership. We get to control how we want to react and how we want to respond, and just be really mindful of the language that you're using in your mind, because the way that we speak to ourselves is the most powerful, and we get to choose what is going to be more useful. Am I going to talk about how this is going to be the end of my business, or am I going to talk about how I'm going to use this time to learn and upskill and support myself in moving forward? And this possibly could be actually really good for my business. So we get to choose the language that's going to serve us best. It's not about lying to yourself. It's not about, creating a belief that's like so far-fetched that even you don't believe it. You want to find something that makes you feel calm and collected, so then you can make decisions that are going to best serve you to move forward. The next 90 days could be quite life-changing, right? In a good way. We get to choose what we want to focus on. And so throughout this next session, I really want you to use your imagination for good and start to put it to good use, because it loves to solve problems. We've just got to ask it some really good questions. So let's dive into the business element. So first, we want to focus on just reevaluating where you are with your business at the moment. Now, I've broken it down to 3 different elements, and you might find that yours might be 1 or 2 of these. It'll most likely be 1 or 2, won't be 3, but really starting to think about, where do you feel you're at right now within your business? Do you feel like it's time to go into hibernation, where you'd like to go into a temporary hibernation until this crisis blows over? So you won't be selling any services or products. You will just be literally hibernating the business. And I use the word hibernation because it's not a closure. This is not you going bankrupt. This is not you closing your business. Remember, useful thoughts. And in this situation, I would absolutely suggest that you speak to your accountant. I am not an accountant. This is not financial advice. I would definitely speak to your own accountant and discuss what are the best options for your business, and then choose the right words that are going to support you to move forward. If we call it a failure, it's only going to feel even worse. So I choose to call it a hibernation, because if you were like me, I'm in business for the long haul. I'm not in business just for the rest of the year. I'm in business for a long term. So even though this next 6 months may look like a hibernation period, it could also be a hibernation of, regrowing and redeveloping and rebranding your business, which we'll go to in a minute. So think about how it could be, is it that you're choosing to put it into hibernation for this point in time? Or maybe you're choosing to pivot, where you'd like to shift your services and products online and make the best out of a bad situation and continue to trade. Or would you like to up level? Do you know that your services and products are really needed right now, and it's about us not hiding anymore and showing up in a new, more powerful way? So I want you to pinpoint which one you feel your business is right now. All human beings need purpose and direction. And that's why I feel like it's really important, especially if we're stuck at home. If we don't have a purpose or a goal, we're going to feel lost and hopeless. So we have a core need to want to grow and contribute. So we get the choice to actually grow through this period. When we have a purpose and direction, we have faith and a reason to keep going. Without purpose, our life seems meaningless. So this is where I would start to think about, what is your purpose? Why did you get into business in the first place? And I want you just to reconnect with that reason why. And then start to refocus your goals. So you want to create new goals that are going to focus on your new future and this new immediate future. So if you were thinking about hibernation, then this is about keeping an online presence. Hibernation, again, is not closing. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing this time to work on your systems and processes. Maybe it's about rebranding and taking that time to work on your marketing plan behind the scenes and thinking about that new relaunch, right? As soon as all this crisis is over. It's focusing on the comeback. And what I would really suggest is you don't go quiet, like don't go non-existent, because you want to make sure that you utilize this time. And I always talk about in business, like 90 days can turn a whole business around. A lot can happen in 3 months. So, and not only that, is the cycle of bringing on new business in 3 months, right? So you want to make sure that if you're going to decide to go into hibernation, that at the end of the next 90 days, it's not that you start again, like it's a whole new cycle of 90 days. You want to utilize this time to build that audience and to, really connect with your clients that are already existing. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth in a minute, but making sure that you're utilizing the hibernation period as a brand awareness phase, not about becoming non-existent, because you don't want to disconnect from your clients that have already purchased from you and that were even potentially wanting to purchase with you. The next phase is pivot. So you want to review your ideal client. And the reason why I say this is because if you're deciding to pivot your business right now, you want to make sure that you're going to be targeting an ideal client that, one, is not going to be directly affected specifically by job loss. And I know that seems like goes without saying, but it's also like, well, like a lot of people are being affected by job loss. I totally get that. But you want to make sure that, one, they're most likely going to be eligible for any of these government stimulus packages. So they're going to have money. Like, I think really being mindful of that, the ideal client that you're wanting to work with is going to want to value your product, but is also going to buy it and have time to work with it. Yeah. So just review your ideal client at this point in time and say, is what I'm offering right now the best fit for them? Or do I need to shift my ideal client for a short period of time? And you want to make sure that it's still in line with your brand. We then want to look at shifting and creating for online, expanding your reach, creating new offerings or tweaking offerings that you already have with the lens of the coronavirus, and starting to really think about, what do people need right now? Or maybe it's up level. Now it's time to expand your reach, look at new opportunities, look at new partnerships and collaborations, create a new client base or expand your client base, look at promotions and elevation of marketing throughout this coronavirus period, and starting to obviously still have the sensitivity of being mindful of how this is looking towards your clients and starting to think about how it affects when the language that's coming across is still sensitive to the situation. Is this all landing? If anybody has questions, please jump in the chat box and let me know. I would love to know before I move on if there's any questions, or if you need further clarification on any of these, please jump in the chat box and let me know, because I want to make sure this is definitely landing before we dive into even more info. Okay, awesome. Cool. Thanks, Morgan. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat box. We're going to keep going. So I really want to stay on time as well. Okay, so let's keep going. But jump in the chat box if you have any questions, please. If you're thinking it, other people are thinking it too. So please don't hesitate. So once we refocus on where we're sitting in regards to hibernation, pivot, or up level, we want to start to rethink about your next 3 months. And everybody is different. So if you feel like you are not ready to think about the whole 90 days, that's totally okay. I would just focus on the first 30. Just focus on what you feel that you can work towards. Otherwise, I'm a firm believer of setting goals that are achievable. So it helps to build your belief and to build the evidence so you know that you can do it. So being mindful that if you're setting these crazy, outrageous 90-day goals, then I really don't want to set yourself up for disappointment. So making sure that if 90 days is perfect for your business, because when I think about like up level and pivot, 90 days seems visible and seems okay to look at. Whereas if we're hibernation, sometimes 30 days feels really difficult, right? So really start to think about, oh, sorry, where did my wrong screen. Really start to think about what's going to work best for you and just focus on 30, 60 or 90 days. So I'd love for you to pinpoint which one you're going to focus on. You're going to focus on 30, 60 or 90 days. Great question, Stephanie. I'm going to come back to that because there's a section further on that I'll talk a bit more about that. Awesome question. So 30, 60 or 90 days. What we want to do is pinpoint which one you want to focus on first and then start to think about these core things. We want to set some really clear goals and make sure that they're really connected to your why. And the reason why I say that is because if they're not emotionally connected, we aren't necessarily going to work towards them. So we want to make sure that you reignite your why and then start to set really smart goals that are really achievable and break them down to actionable steps that you can work towards. And obviously we're going to dive into this a little bit more. So I want you just to maybe pinpoint your 30, 60 or 90 days, and you're going to add things as we go throughout this. Now start to think about what mindset do you need to adopt to be able to believe that this is possible. You want to look at the activities. Get really clear on your daily activities. And this is the 90-day plan that I'm going to send you as well. We're going to look at possibly anticipating any challenges that may arise, because there may be some tech challenges. There may be some things that you haven't learned just yet that maybe we need to work on. And then you want to start to look at the support. What do you need to learn? Who do you need on your team? What support do you need to keep you focused and on track? There is so much, honestly, this is the best time to have an online business because there is so much support out there in regards to technology that helps keep you accountable and stay on track. So there's lots of different ways you can even work with your team, remotely. Like there's so many opportunities to be able to support yourself, and the tech is there definitely to help. But this is like, we're lucky that this is happening now, not, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have internet to stay connected, because we really need to be able to stay connected. So the next stages is, once we've got those goals in mind, what I would first focus on is the way that you communicate. So firstly, we want to communicate directly to your staff, obviously. We want to communicate directly to your clients, your past, your potential, and so your past, your present, and your potential clients of what the situation is for your business. So communicate directly to them. If you're thinking about hibernation, use the word hibernation if you want. It's not a closure. We've got to really make sure we choose our language really carefully, because if someone said to us, oh, the business is closing, we would acknowledge it, but then you would find in 2 months' time, you wouldn't think about it because you basically told your brain that it's not available to you anymore. So being really mindful of how you use your language. Awesome. All right. No worries, Lulu. I'll send you the recording. Okay. So then we want to focus on service, not sales, right? So when we're focused, and you'd probably notice this already, if there's any businesses out there that are constantly focusing on communicating buy, it seems a little bit insensitive. And so being mindful of, you're really focused on how you can serve your clients in such a better way, in such a deeper way right now, that's going to help them even feel even more connected to you. We're going to look at, is it about pivoting and elevating? So you're communicating that to your people. You want to look at any support that you may need throughout this time. What do your clients need? And if you're not sure, ask them. Like, honestly, as we start to go online in any business, like when you're talking about health coaching, right? What is it that you could create for them right now in their homes, where people are stuck at home, probably binge eating, emotionally eating, Netflix, not exercising? Like, really start to think from the lens of what's going on in their life. How can you support them? When it comes to hairdressing, like, honestly, there is so much that we can do that isn't necessarily focused on a service of doing hair, but it's about supporting people throughout while they're at home. Now, I literally had a friend message me this morning. Now, I haven't spoken to her in a few months, so she just randomly messaged me out of the blue, and she's like, she's blonde. I've dyed my hair brown and it's gone green. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to wait till the hairdresser's open again. Like, these are the things people are stressing out. Like, I'm already good at getting a regrowth. Like, these are the things people are already worried about. So we start to think about how we can support them in such a deeper level, and think about, like, if you work B2B, like if you're working with a business, start to write down all the different ideas of the reasons, what challenges they're going through right now, and how can you serve them on such a way that they always look to you for the support. Then we want to make sure that we're connecting. So connecting with our past clients, our present clients, and our potential clients. keep that communication open. Offer them any extra support. Ask them. And if you're not sure what it is, ask them, what is it that you need right now? How can we support you even more? Double down on what you're currently doing for your current paying clients. If you need to extend payment terms, do that. I am not a firm believer in discounting your services, but I'm very much about adding and creating more value. So then they, get even more from you. So when they finish working with you, they're just like, that was the best service I've ever had in my life. And I never expected that you were above and beyond, right? So think about what is it they need right now and create and add more value based on what they need. Okay, just checking time-wise. Okay, so then what we want to do is review all your services and products. Look at all of them from a bird's eye view. So we want to look over them, and it's really important that we don't judge the current business situation and we don't judge what's happening in regards to the business, but we want to review it with a bird's eye view, almost like you're looking at somebody else's business. So review all the services and products, review and just see, are any of them irrelevant right now? Or any of them where we could actually tweak them and turn them online? Is there anything that maybe we need to stop promoting or we need to stop putting out there that that really isn't sensitive to what's happening right now? We need to review all marketing that's currently running with a lens of the coronavirus. That insensitivity can really damage your brand. So make sure that you're really mindful of anything that's going out right now. Is it supportive? I actually had a quiz out there that I had on my website, and I was obviously out on socials, that was all about uncovering the fears that are holding you back. Now, really, that's not really supportive of people right now because everyone's in a state of fear. It's not a normal level of fear. So I removed that, right? And then created this, and then created the 15-page guide because I know that's what people really need right now. Review any upcoming content and make sure that it really has that lens of the coronavirus. Review any other opt-ins or any other offers that you have available and to see which ones are really relevant. And think about how you could currently tweak the services that you have. Maybe it's the name of the service, maybe it's the type of offering, maybe it's the additional add-ons to that service, and think about how that fits in with what's happening for your ideal client right now. And then start to think about what could you create for your clients that would further support them throughout this time. And I want you to think about what problems can you help your ideal client solve, and what resource could you use to create, could you create to help them solve it? This is where we want to start to put our thinking caps on. We really want to start to think about brainstorming and coming up with all these different ideas. And that so lots of different ways that you could do this. Like for instance, like with a hairdressing salon, you could be totally creating tutorial videos and helping support people do their hair at home. And if that's something that you've never offered before, it's a whole new service that you're putting out there for people. And it may not be something that you charge for early on, but it might be something that'll additionally later on down the track. Like we could look at the relaunch of the business that you have all these, so much access to all these online tutorials that it becomes part of your service. And it's so unique to your business because nobody else is doing it. I actually had a salon in Byron Bay that is doing in-home care. No, sorry, not in-home. They're doing kits for hair color at home, professional hair color at home. And so what they're doing is actually consulting with their clients online and working out exactly what it is that they need and sending them their color in the mail. And then doing a tutorial like this via Zoom for them to color their hair at home. Now, and it could be minute, it could be just like part line and things like that, but it's about getting creative and starting to look at things that you could offer that maybe you'd never offered before, that you just never know could actually change the shape of the way that you do business later on. And I know that one of my clients, she's actually on here today, she's a beauty therapist, and she's offered this group connection call, Self-Care Sundays, where she gets on a Zoom call just like this with her clients, talks about any of their skincare concerns, talks about how they could be taking care of their self-care at home and just staying connected with them. Those beautiful, unique ways that you can still stay connected with your clients and start to think about things with a different lens. And then it's about going as digital as you can. This time is absolutely highlighting the time that if you don't have a product or service that you can offer via online, then you're staying stagnant, right? So being mindful, what could you do that is so different, or not even that different, but how can you get yourself to be online? You need something. And then the other thing this is really highlighting is that we are in a time where it's really important that we start to have some form of passive income for our businesses, because when things like this happen in regards to crisis, and we've had to shut down, say, a brick and mortar business, then having some form of passive income is really important. So starting to think about how, like, this is not just about right here, right now. This is about 6 months time, 12 months time. This could actually really help to shape your business in such a great way that by the end of this crisis, you're actually so much further ahead than you were to begin with. So what products could you turn to make them online? Awesome. Thanks, Carly. So what services can you turn to be products, right? Health coaches. You could absolutely create something online that's a product you could sell. You could turn your online coaching, you could do an online course. You could do a group program. You could do online consultations like this. You could do classes like this. There's so much that you could do. Think about if you already have physical products that you sell. Are they already online? Could you create an online store? Posting and deliveries is huge right now. So making sure that how you, and actually my other client that's online today, she has also created these self-care packages she posts out to people of products that in sell on, right? So start to think about some really cool ways to turn your products online and think about how your services can be delivered online. And what other support could you offer that could be turned into a digital product? Right? There's so many other things that you could be doing. I just recently sent out an email to all of my past and present clients, and I'm offering a 1 hour Zoom call as a group session where we can connect and just talk about any challenges, any problems we're experiencing. And we're going to connect once a month because I really want to just add that extra support for people, right? So I'm not charging for that. Like, it's absolutely something that I'm doing out of the goodness. Like, I just want to stay connected with my clients. So it's about thinking about how you can serve in such a better way that, you know, before, maybe for whatever reason you thought you didn't have time or you weren't tech savvy enough or whatever it is. This is really highlighting that we need to move past those things that are holding us back and just start to show up and do things differently. Skin nutrition plans online, Morgan just said. Yeah, freaking love that idea. There is so much that we can do online and even like I'm loving all the corporates about how before it was like you could never work from home and now it's like everybody has to work from home, so they're going to make it work, right? Pamela's just said, I've been offering to build Facebook pages for small businesses in my area that aren't currently on Facebook. Hell yes. Like, how much does this crisis highlight that people need to be online? Like, absolutely. The same thing happened. My brother this week, actually, he has a business and he's not even online, doesn't have a website, has one Facebook page and doesn't really post very often. And I was talking to him this week about how you need to be posting more regularly to show that you still exist and show that you're still relevant. And he had someone contact him from a TV show to film with his business. And I'm just like, all these opportunities are out there, but if we're staying quiet, we're not opening ourselves up to them. Oh, I'm not surprised, actually, Pamela. That's so interesting. So cool. Okay, awesome. Keep the ideas coming. Oh, sorry. Flicked through too many pages. Okay, so what support can you offer that can be turned into a digital product that you maybe thought wasn't possible before, but you're going to make it happen right now? It's all about going digital. So creating an online store, setting up Facebook groups even. I've seen another business set up a beautiful community Facebook group, which is a beautiful way for people to connect and share their business ideas and, you know, share their business so then they can actually get new clients, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can do this. Showing up more online to support your clients is so important right now. People are stuck at home, they're consuming even more, and they need positive information that's coming their way. They need that support. They need the connection. So please be that shining light. Email open rates have gone through the roof. So if you're not emailing, if you've never set up an email system, this is the time to get that set up. Create all of your online systems and processes that before seem time consuming. This is your time to get that set up, to make that happen, to support your business in the long term. Maybe it's about creating an online group offering, right? Maybe it's about like talking about online consultations, online events. Like I said, I'm going to pivot my event to be virtual next month. Online courses, personalized one-on-one offerings. I've seen lots of PTs offer that. I've seen someone offer online one-on-one personal Pilates classes. Cool, huh? Like, so many different ways that we can pivot online. And think about when you sit there and you brainstorm about your ideal client and what they're currently experiencing, you will come up with lots of ideas. So what I would suggest you do is challenge yourself every single day. Sit down with a pen and paper with no other distractions and write down 10 new ideas. And sit there for as long as you need to come up with those 10 ideas. Because when you start to get your brain into that, you know, problem solving mode, it'll come up with crazy ideas, really good ideas, but you've got to challenge yourself to get there, right? And give yourself the space to do that. And you'll find that the more you do it, and even if you write down any of the bad ideas, sometimes really good ideas come from bad ideas. So please challenge yourself to come up with these cool ideas. This time in the world is where so many new business ideas that will come out of the woodwork, that have come out of the necessity of this crisis, right? That will start to shift and change the world. The last time there was a huge downturn in China, Alibaba was created, which is one of the biggest online stores in the world, right? It's huge. Starting to think about how businesses come out of necessity. So Uber, like look at how they disrupted the taxi industry, right? Because people were getting fed up with the taxi service and people wanted to be able to create a business with their car. And it was such a great idea. Same thing with Airbnb. There was these two guys that rented out their, I think it was a blow-up bed in their lounge room, because in their city, there was no hotel rooms available because there was a huge conference on, right? So starting to think about how these businesses are going to come out of the woodwork, that are going to shift and change the way that we do business, and your business can be one of them. So please challenge yourself to come up with cool new ideas every single day. And I guarantee you, if you take one of those ideas once a week and implement it and take action towards it, it's going to support your business long term. And when people start to see all the things that you're doing, people get excited by it and want to be a part of it as well. So Stephanie's just said, I'll be doing live videos about emotional eating and tricks to get around it. Amazing, amazing. There are so many people, like, I don't know about you, but I'm totally emotionally eating, right? So this is where all of our old conditioning and patterns and belief systems that have been affected in the past are going to come up even more now. So all the things that we used to, be affected by, that we possibly have slightly worked through, are going to come back with a vengeance. So if we've ever had a scarcity mindset, that's going to come back with a vengeance. If we've ever had, issues with emotional eating, drinking alcohol, like stress management, all of those things are going to come back with a vengeance, because we're in such high stress state and our coping mechanisms aren't there. So this is where we get to support these people. And if you're any form of coach, this is where you need to step up and start to share as much as you can the tools that you have to support people throughout these challenging times. Amazing. What did Pamela just say? Me too. Is that what you just said? Is that Pamela? Yes, me too. All great changes are preceded by chaos. So even though it may feel like you're in chaos at the moment, new change will come out of this necessity for change. So when we embrace it and we take it on board with a growth mindset, and we look at these challenges as opportunities to grow, and we look at things as obstacles, not problems, we can then shift the way that we look at them and create a whole new perspective, so we can start to take action towards what ultimately we really want, right? Is the freedom, is the excitement of doing what we love to do. So, and enjoying that, and that will come back. There is, when it comes to possibilities, like I said, there's so many things that are booming at the moment. Like in certain downtimes throughout history, things have come out of that, positive things. So I'm choosing to focus on the positive things. The industries that are booming right now, arts and crafts. Whoever thought arts and crafts would be selling off shelves? Like crazy. One of the most high-selling books on Amazon right now is a homeschooling book. Crazy. The other key things like car detailing and window tinting are going nuts. Like, because people at home, and they're like, oh, I may as well get my car serviced, and it doesn't affect with physical distancing. No big issue, right? So, and then as well as obviously website and marketing, people are really starting to notice they need to be online. Online services like Zoom. I should have bought shares in Zoom. Oh my God, they must be killing it right now, the amount of people that are on Zoom. New platforms that are being developed and created because of the need to be in group sessions like this, and because of the opportunities to share in different ways are showing up left, right, and center. Any form of delivery services is going crazy. So if you can set up some type of product sale where you can sell from your brick and mortar business or from home and have it delivered, I would definitely be focusing on that. Any form of gifting and self-care. Looking at collaborations and how you can partner with other businesses to create some form of gifting. Even like the home renovations is going nuts, and gardening is going crazy as well. So all these unique businesses that are actually out there making money, like being mindful of how much information you take on board as well, and choose what you want to believe, because what's really important is that we look at the possibilities, not the lack of opportunities, right? We really want to look at this opportunity to pivot And I'm going to talk a little bit about money mindset in regards to the scarcity that this language is being caused and how this can affect our businesses. And we really want to be mindful of that as well. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So the biggest innovations for life, as we know, are coming out of this time. And we can, if we expect more from ourselves and we don't give up, we can also be part of that. This time is highlighting more than ever that we need to be online and innovate in times of challenging business environments. So spend 10 to 20 minutes a day writing down new ideas on how you can think differently, do things differently, and get started at least on one idea each week. So, like I said, all those conditioning and those fears and those challenges we've had in the past are going to come back up with a vengeance right now. And the way that we cope with them is going to be even more heightened. So one of the key things that I'm noticing for businesses is people making decisions from a place of fear and a place of scarcity. So absolutely normal, right? When we're surrounded by so much fear, we're going to make fear decisions. But what I would suggest you do is go back to that breathing pattern, get yourself into a calm, relaxed state, focus on what you can control, which is how you respond, how you react, and how you think about it. When you come from that place, you can start to think about making decisions for the long term that are going to support you and your business, rather than from a place of what do I have to do right here, right now to make money. If we're thinking of next week, it's too short a term. We need to start thinking a little bit longer term and the impact that it's going to have. And I really want to speak about money, right? There are people and industries out there making money right now. There are people that haven't lost their jobs. There are businesses that are thriving. And not only that, there's plenty of government stimulus packages that are coming out that are supporting people in need. Now, what they spend their money on is absolutely their priority. It is not up to us to judge what people can or cannot spend their money on right now, or what they're choosing to spend their money on. But we want to come back to what is useful for you to believe right now when it comes to money. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of discounting, because if you discount, especially in service businesses, obviously in product it's a little bit different. So if you want to do some form of sale, make sure that it's sensitive with what's happening in this time. But if you're a service-based business, if you discount your service now and then the crisis finishes and you try to put your prices back up, people won't see the value in it because you've been offering it for a less amount of value in the past. So really be mindful of that. You can extend payment terms. You can offer other services, right? So maybe don't change the price point of the service that you've already been offering. Don't drop it, don't discount it, but create a whole new service that's different, that is at a lower price point if you choose to do that. And then bring yourself back to, why do I not believe it's valuable at that price point? Because that's when we start to need to look at doing some money mindset work. Because if you're lacking in that belief around that this is actually really worth this amount of money, and you're being fed into the belief systems around there is no money, then that's obviously money mindset work. There is $90 trillion being circulated around the world still, every single day. The money is still there. It's just being circulated in different places, right? That's why I suggested looking at shifting your ideal client right now if you need to, slightly. Don't go too off track. Like if you're a PT, don't go offering cooking classes. Like don't do crazy shit like that. Focus that it's still on brand for you and your business. But I want you to bring yourself back to the place of, when you make money, you can give more. You can support other businesses by spending with them. You support the economy when you make money and when you spend it. You can help more people and you can create and contribute more. It's so important right now that you make money. And so the way that you show up and you share and you add value is going to support people, and people will want to spend money with you. It's not about asking them to spend their life savings. Like that's not at all the situation, but their priority is their money. That's not your decision to make. You create offers, you continue to sell, and you continue to offer value. People will want to spend money with you, and that's up to them. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. Morgan's just said she loved the podcast that I did about this yesterday. So I did a podcast recently, which is about making money in times of crisis. So that's there for you as well, if you'd like to dive into that a little bit more. And then next week, I'm part of an online summit, which I'll share about in a second, which I'm talking more about money as well. So let's talk about partnerships and collaborations. This time is to start to think creatively, because in businesses like, I think it was Pamela, you were saying about people not having Facebook pages. Was it Marianne? Oh yeah, Pamela. So you're saying about people not having business Facebook pages, right? So there's lots of people that are trying to get online that don't necessarily have the tools or the tech to be able to do it, or the know-how. And there's other people that are really not sure about how like spending money in that space right now. And so what you want to think about is how you can collaborate in unique ways to to connect with other audiences that are going to support your business further. So collaborations can look like for brand awareness, or they can actually look like paid partnerships. Or online stores from brick and mortar stores. Yeah, absolutely. And so like I've even seen a clothing business that partnered with 3 other unique clothing brands that all were trying to create their own Shopify sites. They collaborated into one and then multiple shops online. So they've got more stock, right? And it looks much more professional, it looks amazing. So starting to think about how you can collaborate with other people that have your ideal client in their audience and start to create these unique collaborations and partnerships that are going to support your long-term business. So, you know, if you have a brick and mortar store, and how you can create that online, or how you can partner. Like I think Morgan, the other day I saw that you're partnering with a clothing brand with Fee, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can think about partnering that are going to support your clients and what they're going through right now, and start to think about it. I have another client of mine that she has a online plant store. She's a brick and mortar plant store, and she's converting to be online. And then we're talking about like, if so many people are in their houses right now, not only are they gardening, but they're also gifting people. So they're sending beautiful gifts to other people that are stuck in isolation for people's birthdays, people's housewarming, like all these different things. Like how can you partner with someone that could offer one product and you could actually collaborate with them together and support other businesses all in the one? Cool. Amazing. So yeah, Morgan's got another one in the works as well. So really starting to think about cool collaborations, whether it be product bundles. You could just be actually about focusing on brand awareness. So if you're a service-based business, it could be guest speaking in other people's programs, on someone's podcast, on their blog. It could be doing Facebook and Instagram lives to share someone's knowledge or expertise for your clientele. It could be creating a Facebook group and then getting other experts to share their support, right? So it's collaborating in a unique way that's going to support your ideal client. Could be doing Instagram takeovers, giveaways, client gifts, connecting with Facebook groups and communities. Like there's so many different ways that you can do it, and start to think about even other things like affiliate programs, right? So when you think about unique ways to make passive income, think about if there's any other, like say you're a marketing business, right? And you think about what other businesses, what other supports your clients need in regards to their online platform. They're going to need website hosting. They're going to need a lawyer to look at their terms and conditions and their contracts. They're going to look at other online CRM programs that maybe you can look at. Do they actually have affiliate programs? So when you're recommending certain programs that you love, that you actually get a kickback from it. So it becomes this small little bit of a passive income that comes through. Starting to think about these things now is going to set you up for your business so much more further down the track as well, that people are going to be buying these things anyway. It may as well be benefiting you as well. And that way you're actually getting it's more of a referral system, right? So there's an actual kickback with the referral. Awesome. Okay, getting towards the end. I know we're almost towards the end. Okay, so any questions, please put them in the chat box. I'll come to them at the end. So I want you to ask yourself, where do you want to be in 90 days? A lot can happen in the next 90 days, and we can, like, I don't know about you, but the last 2 weeks I feel like have flown by. But I feel like it's been 2 days, not 2 weeks. Like it's crazy how quickly this time is going. And if we're not careful, it can be passed by Netflix and chill. Like it can be passed by eating. And so being mindful of how you're utilizing this time. Resilience is built through times of adversity. And if you've gone into business for yourself, you are resilient. No person goes into business without knowing there's going to be risks, without knowing that there's going to be challenging times and obstacles that are going to come your way. So now it's about stepping into that resilient mindset and using and seeing things as challenges, as opportunities to grow and opportunities to expand your ability to step out and be different. You can grow through this. Everybody's going to grow through this. It's just about you get to choose at what level. So each day when we get out of bed, I want you to decide to take on this challenge and to show up and support the people. And I think when we have a purpose outside of ourselves, it helps us even more to show up more powerfully. So that's where, when I think about when this first started, I was like, oh my God, this is really going to affect my clients' businesses. How am I going to support them? And I sat down and I wrote down all the different ways that I can support them, and started to think about how, you know, I can connect with them and ask them on a consistent basis and stay in touch and stay accountable and come up with new ideas and how we can pivot and change. And that's what really drives me. I get so excited by that. So that's how I'm using it. And then I think about how I've got to grow myself to be the best version of me to help support them even further. So start thinking about, who do you want to be once this has all come to a pass? And I even look at it from the perspective of next year, when I'm looking back at this, what do I want to remember it to be? Do I want to remember it to be the hardest time in business ever? Or do I want to look back on it and go, you know what? I showed up, I did my best that I could, I supported my clients, and I actually did really well throughout that period of time, right? And, you know, if you don't want to use the word thrive, like I like to use the word thrive because I feel like we can choose to thrive in any circumstance. But if thrive seems too far out there right now, just think about how, you know, your business can still be profitable throughout this. So maybe it's just focusing on it still being profitable, not as profitable as it has been maybe. And this is just a slight dip that we've got to get through, and we're going to get through this. And if you use it wisely, your business could be so much more powerful at the end of this time. So last but not least, who do you need on your team? It's really important once you've set your 30, 60 or 90-day goals is that you share them with your family, share them with your friends, share them with your biz friends if you need to, because I think you need not only the accountability, but you need the support. So I was speaking to a client of mine earlier this week, and one of the biggest things is obviously she's got kids at home now. Normally they'd be in childcare and school, right? So she's really feeling really challenged by the amount of time that she has to spend on her business. And so we talked about what support does she need to be able to still continue to work on her business. And it was about having those discussions and thinking about the long-term goals for her business, for her family. And she hadn't actually had that discussion with her partner yet about, hey, if this business is really going to take off and be really worthwhile for us as a family, then this is the support that I'm going to need. And just about having those discussions. And then it was about her creating structure for her kids, so then she had the time to work on her business. And so it's about thinking about, who do you need on your team now to support you throughout this time? I am here to support you, so please don't hesitate to reach out. This is what I'm here for. A couple of different other ways to stay connected and to support yourself throughout this time is set up a Zoom catch-up call with friends or family and schedule it in for at least once a week. So I'm doing like one call, a group call with some friends of mine that are in business once a week, and then the other week I'll do a family one. But this week I'm doing both because it's Easter this weekend, right? So we're actually doing Easter lunch via Zoom. So think about how you can keep yourself connected and keep yourself supported throughout this time. Maybe create a time to connect with your clients and potential clients online. So same with way I'm doing my events. That's about me also staying connected. And then for all my other clients, my existing and past clients, offering them that opportunity to jump on a Zoom once a month to stay connected and to chat through any challenges or experiences they're having. The other week I did a co-working day with a friend of mine who's also in business, and we set a little agenda, and then we checked back in at certain times throughout the day to make sure that we were keeping on track with the tools that we wanted to create. Maybe it's about doing a Facebook Live or Instagram Live and connecting with your audience regularly. Set yourself a goal with it, right? So I was doing Mindset Mondays every single Monday, and it was so much fun to be able to connect with people every single Monday with a purpose. And without that goal, I probably wouldn't have shown up as regularly, right? And I really need to get back into doing that. Maybe get a coach to guide and support you throughout this time of growth, or join a mastermind or a group program to help keep you on track and stay connected, and be part of virtual events. Connection is a core need. We need it for survival. So please make sure that you're staying connected and reaching out to people. When you feel a sense of loneliness or disconnection, that's our emotional state reminding us that, hey, I need connection right now. So make sure that you make that effort and schedule it in so you can support yourself throughout this time. As I said, I'm going to send you through a 15-page guide with all of this information and more, plus a 90-day plan that literally you saw on the screen, the little 90-day template to support you as well, so you can utilize those at home. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to send that out via email after the session, so you've got that today. And then next week, I'm part of this Rise. Oh my God, I'm losing my voice already. Oh my God, it's only 12 o'clock. Next week on Thursday, on April 16th, I'm part of the Rise Above Summit. So me and 6 other speakers are going to be speaking about everything that you can do to step and rise above the challenges that in this climate right now. So we've got everyone from marketers to salespeople to coaches to health like every element of what you think about what you need right now. This is for leaders. This is for conscious business owners. This is for healers. This is for coaches, like anybody that wants to be able to step up and start to share more online and to be able to elevate your business to a new level. Then this is something that we're running next Thursday. So it'll go from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we'll each have a speaker slot where we'll speak about a certain topic. And if you head to the registration link, you'll find more information about all the speakers and what we'll be covering. And it's a complimentary, it's a free event, and you can totally be a part of that if you'd like to. I'd love to have you come along. I'll put the link in the email as well, so you've got access to that. And then I'm going to jump on and just stay on and answer any questions if you have. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box. But if you feel like you're going to need further individual support for your business to be able to pivot and take things to the next level, then you're more than welcome to book in a 45-minute discovery call with me. I'm going to send the link through the email, so you can do that and book in a time that suits you. And then we can talk about how we can pivot your business now and support you throughout that. So more than happy to support you with that. It's a complimentary call and you can book it whenever suits you best. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really hope that this has given you lots of different ways to think about how you're doing business right now. I'm going to stop the share. Okay, amazing. I'm going to open up the chat box and I'm going to put everyone's mic back on. So if you prefer, rather than actually type it, you can just say it if you like. Okay, awesome. Okay, so unless you've muted yourself, you're now unmuted. Okay, so I've got, oh, Stephanie, you've already registered. So cool, amazing. I'm glad that's been supportive for you.
I did.
Overload of ideas now. Amazing. Thanks, Kamala. So glad that you can. Amazing. So does anybody have any questions or anything you want me to go into a little bit more in depth specifically to your business? Cool. Just unmute your microphone and ask, or pop it in the chat box. Honestly, if someone else is thinking it, you're probably, if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it. So please don't hesitate to ask the question. You've got me here. Like, you may as well utilize it.
I haven't started my business yet. I've got the idea, and I'm currently still working in my job. And I understand, obviously, like the registering your business and all of that. But it's really focus on the steps to take to get to that level. Like, is that coaching that I need, or like, because I was looking at the 90-day goals, and I thought, well, that's great if the business is already there, but it's sort of taking that idea to the next level.
Yep. So tell me, what have you created so far? So at what point do you have services to offer? Are you ready to go? Like, what stage are you in?
Okay, so I'm a copywriter, and I've identified with the businesses that I deal with in my work in radio. There's so many businesses out there that don't have the skills to write great copy for their websites or for their Facebook pages and things like that. So I've identified that's a service I can offer, and it's just taking it to that next level.
Yeah.
Of
so do you have an idea of how they would like it to be delivered?
Well, as I said, I identified a few weeks ago when all of this stuff happened, some of my current clients, radio clients, didn't have Facebook pages. So they're all of a sudden, I did a bakery, for example. He was all of a sudden going, oh, we want to do delivery and takeaway. I built him a Facebook page. The response was overwhelming for him. Like, he just had so many. We got over 400 likes in one day, which I come from a relatively small area, so that was pretty good. Yeah. And I got lots of great feedback that the content and the copy that I wrote was really good. So I'm feeling I can probably use this now as a bit of an example to say to other businesses, I can do this for you. But I don't really know how to do that. That's my problem. I have the idea, but it's like just taking it to that next level. Do I build my own Facebook page and then go from there, or?
So if you had a client come to you with this exact problem, what would you say to them?
Well, from listening to a lot of the things I've been listening to, I've spent this few weeks like listening to heaps of podcasts. I would say I obviously already have current clients, so maybe do an email list to reach out to them.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a good start. Yeah. What next?
And then obviously have my own presence on Facebook and have somewhere where they can go and have a look and see what I do. But I've also have a bit of that imposter syndrome thing going on too. Like, oh, I've built a page for one per client. Woo! So now I'm going to put myself out there. But, yeah.
And this is normal, right? This is totally normal. We all experience a level of imposter syndrome when we're taking things to the next level and doing things we've never done. And it's only just the brain basically saying, hang on a minute, am I safe here? Like, I've got no evidence that this is actually going to be okay. And that's where we've got to override those thoughts and go, this is what's important to me, and I'm going to give it a go, right? Every single step of the way. I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens. Just going to give it a go and see what happens. And anytime that we find ourselves stuck in that place, we go, how can I serve? Like, we put it outside of ourselves. Like, there's so many businesses out there right now that need what you're offering, and they are losing sales every single day because they're not online. So I would create, possibly look at two different options. I would look at a DIY option where you maybe create a template for people to try and do it themselves. And then the second one is a done for you service, where you can go, you know what, this is what the fee is, and I literally go and do it all for you, and then you're up and running within 2 days, right? Otherwise, the DIY is probably going to take you a week if you've never used Facebook before. Like, to really be clear what it is that they're getting from each service. And then I would absolutely go out to your email list. I would absolutely create your own page and put it out there. Create some posts around what it is that you offer and the reasons why. But then also use that case study. It's an excellent case study to be going out to market. I would be putting that case study in your email as well, letting people know this is a new service that you're offering. And, there's only limited spaces available, because really technically, how many could you do in a week?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe at this stage 5, because I'm trying to juggle my my real job.
Yeah. So there you go.
At the same time.
Literally you only take on 5 businesses at a time. So up to you if you want to say it like that. Otherwise, I would just share it first for your email list. How many have you got on your email list?
Well, the current clients that I write radio ads for, I probably have 1,000.
Amazing. So I would maybe create a bit of a sequence then. So rather than just one email, don't expect that everyone's going to read that. So create maybe 3 emails and look at, I would write down all the reasons why people need what you're offering, and then look at any other objections. So write 1 email about the features and benefits in this new service that you're offering. Second one is the case study and the reasons, the impact that it can make. And then the 2 different reasons why you created a DIY and a done for you. And the last one, the overcoming certain objections. So if you think like this, is this the right time for me? I don't know. Should I be on Facebook? One of the biggest questions I always get asked when it comes to social media that people are freaking out about having a Facebook page is that, how am I going to handle the influx of messages? And that sounds, relevant, right? But you know what's really interesting? It's not a big influx of messages to begin with. You've got to build that audience first. Right?
Yeah.
So people have this, think about how you can speak to that and go, you may be worried about, if I set this up, am I going to get influx? But then what's the detriment to that? No influx, and then your business is going under. So
it's one of the some of the feedback I've actually had when I've been talking to people about that don't have Facebook pages. Something they've said to me, which I've found interesting, that they don't want to have a Facebook page because they don't want to put themselves out there because they might get negative feedback.
Oh, another big one. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in the however many 4 years that I've been doing this, I've got 1 negative comment, and it was really relevant because it was a video that I did in like my first year. It was horrendous. And now I laugh at it and go, you know what? That was so true. It was so bad. So I think there's about sharing some good stories around it, and then sharing them with how they can handle that negative feedback. Because that's the biggest thing. It's actually not about the negative feedback. It's how would I handle it? I don't know how. So it's a figure around the how. So even go, well, what I can do is actually create a template for you of how to handle negative feedback on social media. Or you just give 2 tips. Like 1, you want to welcome the feedback, thank them for the feedback, and then also use that as a tool to share with the rest of the audience on how you handle feedback, because that is the biggest impact for businesses. Like if you handle negative feedback badly, it can impact you really detrimentally. So whereas if you handle it really well, it's actually really supportive of your business. People really see it as like, this is amazing the way they handled that, as well as people aren't silly. Like people see negative comments, and if it's irrelevant or if it's kind of left field or a personal attack, people just go, that's actually irrelevant and pointless. So
the person saying the negativity actually looks worse than the reflection on the business.
Yeah. So think about how you can support them, and maybe it's just about giving them the tips and the tricks that there's what's the way off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are the three things about how I would suggest you handle a negative comment. But then you not being online and worrying about handling a negative comment, you're actually holding back 50 to 60 people that are ready to buy from you. Yeah. I love it. Go out with it. Make it happen.
I do. Well, and that's why I'm seeing this time. I'm working from home and I'm actually loving it. And I'm seeing this time this is the time that I can act. This is it's going to happen. I'm going to do it.
Yes. Amazing. So good. Thanks, Pamela. I hope that's helped.
Thank you.
Okay, Dexter said, how do I find a positive balance of the amount of posts that you do online? Is there too much or too little? How do you find the balance to be positive in your business? So two different questions there. So one, personally, how do I stay positive? It's my morning routine. Like the way that you start your day sets up the whole day, and about how much you consume. Like if you're consuming lots of negative content, and this is normal right now because it's very relevant because there's so much news going on that's really heightened and catastrophized, that I'm just being mindful of how much negative information I'm consuming. That yes, I still want to stay abreast of what's happening. I want to still stay informed, but then I'm making sure that I'm balancing it out with positive information. So listening to positive podcasts, reading things, using my creative skills, like doing something that's actually worthwhile and I'm producing and actually keeping positive in the way that I'm staying productive, is about how I balance that out. And then my morning routine. So I start with some form of movement, meditation, music, like anything that basically gets me in a good mood, start there first before I jump on any sort of platform, social media or email. In regards to the positive balance and the amount of posts, this is a really interesting one. And I think that it comes down to your audience. And look, the way that the algorithm goes, like not everyone sees your post anyway. And I've seen some people post like 3 to 4 times a day. And if they've got a really big following, then that moves through quite quickly. But if they don't have a huge following, then that can sometimes seem flooded if you're doing all posts at once. So being mindful that you may want to do one in the morning, one in the evening, but then it's about coming back to what you feel that you can show up consistently with. Because if you struggle to do that many posts, then you end up creating irrelevant information, and then it actually is a flood, and it seems like, I don't even know why I'm reading this, right? So you want to make relevant content that's going to support your clients that they really want to engage with. And you then need to think about what's my consistency there? Because consistency is key. Because if you start to build that relationship and you start to build that trust with your audience, they are going to expect you to be there, right? So I literally went offline for 2 days, 2 weeks ago, and had people message me going, are you okay? What's wrong? And it's because I'd stopped doing stories. Like, it's so interesting when people start to build that trust with you. So I would start first of what can you do consistently? Because this is what I see happen is that people go, well, I should be posting 3 or 4 times a day, which is a lot. But then they do that for 3-4 days and then they disappear for a week. Where it's actually much more effective if you do 2 a day and stay consistent, or 1 a day and stay consistent, right? And I always like to utilize like one piece of content and then flesh it out across all platforms. So one piece of content, and then I like would post to Instagram in my feed, and then I would do a story, a video of me talking about that content in maybe a different way, then maybe doing a quote about that, then maybe doing an Instagram live with that, then posting on Facebook in a different way. So it might be the same image, but I say something different, or a different image with a different viewpoint on it. So it's actually not creating like 10 different pieces of information. It's one message in different ways, if that makes sense. Awesome. I hope that's helped. Does that answer your question, Beck? If that doesn't, please ask another one. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to share? Awesome. Thanks, Beck. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share anything, any key takeaway that they've had so far? Anything they're going to walk away from this session with that they'd like to implement, or even just a mindset shift that they've had? Oh, there's another question to finish up. I'm here, so if you have any questions, you can just hit reply to my email and ask away if you like. Being able to create a plan in such unplanned times. Yeah, honestly, so important. That structure is going to give you back a sense of safety and a sense of security that's going to help you be more productive and more creative, right? Without that structure, we feel even more uncertain. So the structure definitely helps for sure. Carly said, I'm going to write some lovely cards to all my clients. That's so nice. That's such a great idea. Like anything like that is letting people know that you're in their thoughts is so important. I think it's really nice to stay connected in that way. It's really lovely. Amazing.
Can you hear me, Christine?
Yeah, go Stephanie. Yeah.
So my aha moment for this one was when you were talking about how to serve our clients better. So I'm looking at hibernation. So I'm going to be hibernating my business because at the other end of this, I want to sort of like relaunch myself. And so I'll be putting into plan how I'm going to be doing that and putting myself out there a little bit more. The other aha moment I had, what was it?
Sorry, before you go on, Stephanie.
Yep.
So this phase now, that even if you're going to do a relaunch, is about brand awareness. So it's about making sure that people know who you are and what you do for the next 3 months at least.
Okay, yeah.
So that means still sharing content, still showing up and serving, but you may not be selling as such.
Right, okay.
Right.
Yep, that sounds right, yeah.
And then by the time you finish, then by the time you want to relaunch, there are so many people out there that are like, oh my God, she's got something for me to buy. I'm there. I want it. Right. And that's what you want to create.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to create. Thank you. So that was my aha moment. I just wanted to share that with you and say thank you so much for allowing me to pivot my mindset, if that makes sense. So that was awesome. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm so glad. That's my whole goal for this call is all about pivoting mindset, because once you have the mindset of growth and expansion, then you can do anything from there, right? It's not about me coming up with ideas for your business. It's about you setting yourself up in a space where you can create those ideas for yourself.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for showing up today and for showing up for yourselves and your businesses. If you have any questions at all, I am here to support you, and I would love to hear anything that you implement. So if you have any wins, if you're sharing or anything, please tag me in it. Tell me about it. Let me know. And I really want to see everything you're creating from this space. So thank you all so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.